It's come recording.
Okay. So, good evening, sir, and good evening,
Yeah,
Ramya. We can start.
Good evening, sir. Yes, sir.
very good evening. We are coming into a thing after a few weeks, correct?
Yes, yes. Sorry about that delay because I was busy on
Today's
So
project.
busy.
So I was out of station for some days, but I was busy on deliverables for one of the ERP project.
uh,
That could be one reason, but still, we have to get going with this panel discussion as we agreed upon earlier. Let's try to do that at least once in a fortnight.
okay.
Yeah.
Ramya, you have any points over our meeting? You would have got some points, no?
Yes, sir.
Anything?
Not
Yeah.
only that, as per today's discussion, we'll discuss about the post implementation and during the implementation, what all challenges we would be facing and how we need to work out on the revenue part with them, invoicing or anything, how to
Mm.
go. What
Mm.
are the concern when they are making us a payment towards this? So, little input from your end. So, how we can go with a smooth manner with the customers, sir?
See, first of all, this project is a long run. Most of the ERP projects, it will go beyond 6 months minimum, even a small implementation also. And to some years also it has gone, correct? So here what happened is there could be a team leaving, a new team formation, new person leading the project. So optimizing time effort is very important. So that adds to the cost, correct?
Yes, sir. Sir,
And
one more
so,
thing. When we give them the time effort, this should
mm,
be the effort time from our end, around to 400 to 600 hours, or it can be a 1 year of project. If it crosses that limit,
mm.
in the other hand, the customer also starts putting the pressure from our end. So during this time, how we need to.
Oh, if that
Uh,
kind of an interaction has come, you're getting pressure from the customer, that will be
mhm,
the best time to implement. Normally, that will
mhm.
never happen.
Okay.
Customer will never react in a ERP because he is very silent, because he feels I don't know much. The consultants are there. If something happens, we'll ask the consultant. If the customer is putting pressure, that is the best thing. That means customer has seen or feeling the ERP usage.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
My
Okay.
observation is to address the question from Ramya. Why that escalation happens, or when that escalation happens, or when that pressure comes, is only
See,
because of the process missing between the implementer and the customer.
Yes.
There is something we used to operate, or we are currently operating through the process called as a steering committee meeting. So
correct.
the steering committee meeting is done between two of the both side, the high stakeholders of the both sides.
Mm,
So before the steering committee meeting happens, the project manager level meeting happens, and
mm,
they will sort out what are the issues not done and
mm,
why it is not done or how it can be done. So
uh.
they bring it up to the attention of a steering committee. And
No, that is fine.
yeah,
These are all progress reviews and all. We spoke about this in the earlier discussions.
okay.
Progress review and finding out where we are reaching is also one thing in this line of thinking.
Okay.
That is where the key persons, the committee members, all will come and try and see how the status is.
Okay.
Uh, that is what is thing where the customer, when he starts getting into the meetings, that means some progress which have been spotted,
Okay.
or some landmark is spotted, where, or as you said, there could be some missing gaps.
Yes.
It could be three of this. We agree on this.
Schedule overrun happens. So
it could
the
be
moment
schedule.
schedule overrun happens, then he will escalate.
Okay. So there is project management process, correct? PMP or the Prince, you know,
Yes, correct.
they state that if you phase out the projects, identify activities in each of these phases,
Okay.
and have a start-stop thing, the optimization of effort and time is very much possible.
Right.
Have you heard of this? Anyone saying this? PRISM or PMP?
Yes.
They say that you go into a project management mode in an ERP or any project implementation where you phase out the activities. That phasing out enables us, can we exit in between? Is there a dispute? Can we check where the activities are, how much shortfall, what is the overrun? That will give the thing to optimize your way of working.
Correct.
Is it becoming clear for you?
Yes.
Point
Yeah.
number one.
Yeah. In the basically the schedules, whenever we have a discussion with the ongoing team on the project schedule, so we always have a color coding for each of those activities. So wherever there is something which is becoming red, then it is definitely going to be discussed in the steering committee meeting.
Yeah,
So,
that is what the metrics given as red, amber, green.
red,
Red, amber.
Yeah. So this
Red,
red
amber.
issues are going to be very seriously taken by both the parties, and if they are not resolved, the red issues are not resolved, then definitely project is going to face a lot of hurdles. And before that happens, I think both the parties have to come to some conclusive actions and quick actions, mutually agreed actions, and then convert that red color to either amber or green or so, depending on that. I mean, both sides it has to happen. Either it is a requirement gathering slip out, or either it is a deliverable team has missed out, or whatever. There are so many issues, testing issues or platform issues. There are so many.
So that is why in optimizing while you are doing this red amber thing, as you said, which are facing red, which are facing amber, which are facing green, those things have to be clearly reviewed, and the top management has to get a decision, and not across the table. If not possible, at least they should take a timeline and see. To that extent, they should reset the progress of the project. That is where overshooting the run timeline we can avoid. Mutually agreeing. If this mutually agreed, it will impact the cost. So that is also to be told to the concerned parties, stakeholders.
So here I also see the capability of the PMs on both sides. The capability of PMs, why I'm saying is that the issue of a project overrun, the schedule overrun, it would have happened because of not their capability. It would have happened because of some other parameters which are driving the project. It could be, like we have faced recently the COVID issue.
Current situation.
Calamities, there are so many calamity issues can also happen, and or there are some issues with respect to law of the land or situations. So the PMs are intelligent. They have to be so good, or they have to be so efficient to project what could be the further impacts, and how many the modules would get affected because of this particular overrun. So based on that, rescheduling has to happen, and that discussion has to be approved by both the parties.
Correct, mutually agreed upon. That is very important.
True.
It can't be one-sided.
One-sided, yes.
Yeah, that is where the thing. So that is where when you face this project activities, stage one, or phase two, phase one, phase two. You will have a start and a finish to this. So phases can be parallelly going. It is not that like a thing, waterfall, it doesn't go one by one. You can have two phases running simultaneously. So start to finish, you have to see, then start and finish. Suppose there is a dispute. So how do I walk out of this dispute? How to exit? That is also you must draw. Within this time you don't do it, then what happens? So those things are primarily discussed only. And when there is a dispute on the thing, invariably the service provider gets affected. So this is very thing. Initially, when we start with a very sound principle that we do good work, and if you are at a problem to handle it, then you have to see what is the legal option for that.
Oh, okay. So in the big projects where the huge investment has happened on both sides, I think this kind of exit terms, someone has to monitor it very carefully.
Correct.
Someone has to not allow both the parties to get into that situation. Because a huge investment has happened from both sides.
Correct.
And, they can't stop it, and they can't hand over the project to some other party to execute because of whatever time factor or resource factors. There are so many things involved. It is not that easy to transfer the project from one party to another party.
Correct. It's very difficult unless you take a very perfect knowledge transfer from the other party who is exiting from your scheme of thinking.
Correct.
Knowledge transfer, most of them don't give. They just give, this is the thing, this is available, you see in this. And people leaving the project also one of the core element which is affecting the time and effort.
Right. So what I think for all these, mitigating such risks which are appearing now, I think we should follow the process very, very carefully. I think it is very important to record whether it is a requirement gathering or whether it is a design document or the source code mapping or even taking a backup on repository. All those are important from both the sides. I think I have seen we are working with agile methodologies now in our process. We don't wait for the end of the one particular period of 4 weeks or 6 weeks. So every weekend we start recording. Every weekend we make sure that the activity is defined for that week, which includes even transfer of technology or transfer of the process or knowledge. Everything is whatever best possible is recorded, is transferred. So that is something, if it is ongoing, then there won't be such shocks. You don't have to wait for 2 months to wait and then watch for these kind of shocks coming.
This is a great tumbling block in a large project. I'm not saying ERP alone. Any large project, even outside IT, this is the problem. Reviews and feedbacks are the missing link. That is why you can't optimize time and effort conclusively. That is one thing we have to see. Then another thing is you develop your system in a particular scale down configuration, and when you are going to deploy it on actual configuration, live environment, there could be some hitches. This is also affecting the timeline, where an optimization will have a thing. So this particular thing affects the implementation also.
Right.
You understand? Have you come across this? See, you in your office, you are working with a scale down configuration. You go in the client space, that is a different configuration. So the configuration mismatch doesn't allow you to download and immediately start the thing.
It is
Some
the version,
parameter changes.
version issues, parameter issues, all that can happen. The customer would be using Office software of a older version, whereas I would have developed it on latest version of MS Office or so.
That
Taking
is
an
what
example,
application
not
and
all that.
tool licensing.
Yep, tool licensing. Correct.
Application and tool licensing, under which you have to look into it with both the eyes, where we are missing. So in a small thing like your version of the OS, your version of your thing, or when you download, the client will be having different specs and versions. Sometimes it is not licensed also. You have to be sure that tell the client you have to use a licensed software. Most of them will say, I don't know.
Yeah, I think from the day one we have to start with the required official licenses, whether they have it or not. Either
That
if
is
they
very,
don't have it, then we have to procure it on their behalf, which we have done in the past,
how
and
you
then we
do it
transfer
is
to them.
different. The agreement with them, I thought it is all part of the project. That is why I am not questioned it. That's how the customer will try to back himself.
Yeah.
It is not like that. Be explicit. Licensing and tooling, applications, running and deploying on a targeted environment, all needs to be part of this optimization process. That is very important.
Yes, correct. I think the license management is also a very important activity, as you mentioned.
Then another thing comes the customization. See, you get a version from the client, then you keep on customizing. If the customer, if the original manufacturer or the developer, he gives a new version 9, from version 8. Retrofitting is very difficult in that case because how much of customization it has gone through from the standard solution. This you have to keep in mind. The retrofitting is again will be another project.
Yeah, it is very difficult. Absolutely. Yes.
Ramya, you understand?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, I understood. Sir, in some cases, the customer is having his development environment with other vendor, and if we are working in, and we will be facing some difficulty, and later when developing a certain state, his license expire, and if they tell us, if they have not taken the backup, how to face this issue with the customer or with the team, how to resolve it? It would be a rework for us again.
That is what you have to say. Under this environment, it will work. So when you are sending your person who's trying to fix the bug or anything, you must first check what environment or last deployed version of your solution. How many files were there? What is the size of the file? All this first you have to check. Then if there is, that is why the log thing you'll have to bring every time you go to the client. You bring the latest log sheet of the system log sheet, correct? It will help to see how much size of the file has increased and what is exactly should have been the size of the solutions which are. I'm not telling data files. It is which is software which is running, no? That will have a file size. Then what are the environment which has changed? Is there any change? New software has been implemented, exclusively required for your solution. That is very important.
Yeah, I think her concern is, Ramya's concern was that if the data is lost I don't think the data would get lost because both the parties are equally capable of taking respective backups. That is one. And if there is a license expiry happens, then definitely they can go for renewal, and then, or we go and then buy a license for them on their behalf, and then we put it across there. So data loss may not happen, but as Vardhan sir said, yes, we have to be careful with respect to taking the logs, compare the logs, and convince the customer before we put any other programs over there. That there are some checks and balances we do. For example, if it is a financial package, then we always take a fresh reports on the balance sheets and P&L accounts. So we make sure that those data printouts are taken before we put our data over there or our programs over there. Finally, it has to be compared, the balance sheets and P&L, like that. There are checks and balances which we define the process for before we upload our new programs, new versions from our side. So they should not start suspecting our code. Whatever is the latest code which has come in there, they should not start suspecting. And secondly, if we do this kind of a checks and balance now, what would reduce our time, is in terms of testing. Otherwise, if there is any kind of a bugs reported, then we have to start testing from beginning to end again. So it will be an overhead on us.
That is one thing. After this point, these are all very vital. I mean, you say, no, I didn't come across these situations, but these are things which we have to know. Never allow client to be without a licensed software. Nowadays, it is very pertinent and should not be allowed. That's very important. Then targeted technology and platforms. These are very important. We have already stated this. So you have a lesser technology, version 5, version 4, or like that, and it is version 8 or 10. You will have a problem because backward compatibility sometimes doesn't work. And then you agree on this?
Yeah, I think we have faced this problem in one of the recent projects where the backward compatibility was a major issue. Like one of the Excel version which customer is having, and, the person who is to test there, he used to have older version, and that older version was not compatible. And now everybody has moved to latest version. So he was using one of the 2003 version or 2007 version of Office. And that was giving us a problem, and we told them clearly that either you upgrade and what we have agreed to, or then don't test it on that system. So I think finally we were able to resolve that. So bringing up to the latest version is important for both sides. That is very, very important. I think what we do normally is that we clearly tell them what is our development environment going to be and what is our test environment going to be.
Correct.
So, and finally, the production environment is also mutually agreed, and either it will be ready now or it will be ready later. But
correct.
The test environment is exactly same as a production environment. Yeah. The production environment, may come later, because of whatever server production, buying a big server, large server, connecting to the network, and all that can be later. But the environment or the platform has to be exactly same as production and in our test environment.
Yeah, Ramya, now as Anand told, there are 3 basic environments which you have to take care when you are doing this kind of a project. See, this also goes under optimization only. When you go along the delivery of the development, so first you have to take from the development area, go to the testing area, finish the testing, then or whatever you call it, UAT or whatever name you call it, that is different. Then finally hand it over to a person who will put it in the final main this one, you know,
Going to the production basically.
production you call it. You give it a name, that is fine. This is what is very important from the optimization point of view. It is very important. So now you can check by phase. Phase one, what stage it is. It is in the applications are developed, tested, and put into the operation. This, phase two, it is under a UAT. Phase 3, it is under testing and discussion with the client. Like that, we can very easily form our strategy, and whatever thing can be pinpointed from the point of view of development or missing links. You understand?
Sir, we have come across a situation. For example, we agreed upon doing a test server at our end. Okay, it is a cloud server basically. We set it up and then show it to the customer. But he is a production machine. It hasn't arrived yet. It is an on-premise server because it's a high-end server and a secured server which they wanted to put. So what used to happen is we used to do a development on our machine and test on the cloud server. But finally, when it is gone to the production, and again we have to run complete one full cycle. For all the modules we have to run, and whatever we do on the UAT, the same thing we have to do there. So that is an additional effort involved, and because we had taken precaution, our project was on time. If we had not taken that kind of a testing activity and in our budgeting, in our time effort, so it would have really gone for a toss, There's a lot of
normally what they do, they collect it under a file. A zip file is created. Put all the required thing. Then you automate it to run or download the entire again. That is one way of addressing the. Hello.
Yeah, we are there.
Yes, sir. We are there.
That is one way of addressing that. Always go through a zip file or protected file.
Okay.
So that number of files won't be missed. Versions can be controlled. Then another alternative is to have a version control tool. Most of the companies don't buy that. They will say, no, why do I buy? It's very expensive.
Open source available, sir. SVN is there. SVN server is there. Now, GitHub is there. So we have.
The customer is not that much educated.
Yeah.
See, customer is not that educated. He is always a bit lower than your consultant.
True.
It is assumed like that. You are supposed to tell him.
Yeah.
And first of all, open source and developing around the open source also, we have to be a bit careful.
Oh yeah, that is very important.
Suddenly, the open source person who gave this thing, he says, my business thing terms and services changes. Now on, you are going to pay for it. Then what happens? At some point, if you say,
some of the open source tools, we think that it is open source, but there are certain license issues are there. So one has to be very careful in terms of developing, and once we have developed it using those tools, we are supposed to publish whatever code we have developed. The client would feel that no, it is my property, but it is not his property.
It is not your property or client's property.
Yep.
Correct. You can't even use it to the same version to another client.
Another client, yes.
That is also a problem. And even if you look at Oracle solutions, middlewares, some open sources they are using.
Okay.
Middlewares.
Okay.
Network middlewares and other things. They have chosen open source and they are using it.
Okay.
There could be a legal binding after some time. that may have terms and services altered.
Okay.
That you have to be very careful.
Mm.
Open source doesn't mean it is really open source.
It is not free.
It is not free. See, the customer, you have to tell it is not free. Sometimes it could be I am giving a low cost solution at this point. There could be a thing like that. You give him the pros and cons of using open source.
This coming to this terms and conditions of the contract. I think we have touched upon this in the last discussions, but still there are some pointers, which we have to highlight for the benefit of the readers here. I think we define the contract from the customer point of view, but we do not define certain things like how do we transfer the project, and what are the the what you call the bill of material of transferring the project. Project transfer basically.
See, my point 7, you see, ownership definition.
Okay, ownership definition.
My point 7.
Yeah, yeah. Fully agree. So the ownership gets transferred at certain point in time.
See, in most of the case in the open source, this one, ownership doesn't get transferred. It is the solution around that open source is getting it. Correct. You can't say the solution is.
Yeah.
You are developing a solution for him using this.
Fully agree. Yes.
Yeah, that is very clearly you have to tell. That should be documented while you get your order.
Okay.
To that extent, we don't go because we are very happy once he signs the thing and gives you some advance. So the consultant or the developer gets totally psyched by that order coming to your table. These things are technical and legal things are not discussed at all.
Okay.
Am I correct in telling? I don't know what still I should tell you this.
No, I fully agree. Ownership is something we have to be clear, be documented also. Like I mean, we have to educate the customer much before the project starts, and then
during the phase 1, phase 2, like that, you have to keep on telling him. Yes, I have given it. It is coming to usage. You can use the word usage. It is not ownership.
Okay. So
is it clear now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then the payment terms. See, there is one. Suppose you get into a dispute in your payment or the things coming. There is very good business practice called escrow. Have you heard of this? ESCROW.
I think better if you could put some 2-3 lines about it here so that we are clear about it.
Yeah, you have heard of this escrow?
No, sir. I have not heard about it.
See, suppose there is a dispute between two companies about the payment. See, suppose invariably this comes in the last payment, correct?
Yeah.
Have you delivered? Have you paid? Okay. That situation, what you do is to get to a common thing, to create a draft for that amount, give it to someone to keep that till the thing is resolved. That account is called escrow account. It can be a bank account also, where you can deposit that amount. So both of them will have the thing commonly, jointly sign and withdraw the money at the end of the project. So when there is a legal dispute, we use this kind of a thing. That could be signed in the beginning itself, saying that is there a dispute, we'll go for an escrow settlement. This is called escrow settlement, escrow account monitoring. You can put any number of money into that by phase. so much amount. Yes, I am clear that money is inside that. That money is not given to you because you have not delivered, or there is a dispute. So I am going to charge you thing. Then also you can improve upon the escrow binding.
So the escrow money withdrawal happens only after the concerned court is giving an order to one of the parties, correct?
Not court or something.
I mean, if there is
It
a
is.
dispute, then where do they go and approach? They have to go to the
That
legal angle, no?
that person is there now. Invariably, it is their auditors, company auditor,
Okay.
or anyone legal advisor. Anyone could be
Okay.
escrow.
It is defined based on the defined legal authority.
Depends on the severity.
Okay.
Mhm.
Sometimes what happens, you go there across the table, you get the DD, you pass the CD and come out. That could happen.
Mhm.
So this is invariably internally some person creating nuisance for you in the project where these kind of issues come.
Okay.
Sir, in this escrow account, should we agree to put some amount from both the end parties, or how exactly?
That is what. Suppose 80,000 is outstanding. There is a disputable amount, correct?
Okay.
And party is saying that you have not delivered this, correct? Sometimes what happens, see, you have delivered, but is it the right thing you have delivered? If the party passes, when that money should be given to you, at what point in time? That is why they will prepare this account, or they will prepare a DD for that amount and keep it with them. So immediately the moment you have done it, they will pass this DD to you through a third party.
Okay.
So on the other hand, the other practice which we have seen is we get the money from customer against bank guarantee. I have to give a bank guarantee for X lakhs, and then they pay me that X lakhs, and the bank guarantee is valid for some months, 6 months or 12 months or 1 year, 2 year, like that. So until suppose I fail to deliver whatever we agreed upon, mutually agreed upon as per the contract we have signed, or subsequent to the contract we signed. So in the bank guarantee, we would have mentioned about that. Then customer is having authority to realize the bank guarantee. So that much money from my pocket goes to customer.
That is also one thing. These are all huge government projects. They will have there'll be a requirement for bank guarantee. That is why small time companies are not able to bid for government projects because of bank guarantee.
Got it.
You got the point. That much money has to be locked for so much time till you deliver your.
Yes.
And even after delivering, it will say 4 months after, 6 months after that, bank guarantee will be released. So you just calculate interest for that money and how much money is blocked. You need a working capital, correct?
True. Yes. So nowadays the bank guarantees are available at the we have a OD accounts. So they might charge the OD interest. Equivalent to OD interest, they charge on the bank guarantee, and then
that is for the working capital you are talking. The project management funding. It will
Just
be
like EMD payment.
I'm coming to the same point, sir. So here, what happens? So for example, I would have received say 10 lakhs from customer, and customer puts a condition that you are supposed to be there till 1 year from now. So you take 10 lakhs, but if you are not there, or if you are missing, or if you fail to give me a service, then bank guarantee will be encashed.
So this will be very good for post-implementation issues.
Yeah.
The 10 point
So-
number 10 is there,
So
no?
here, my real earning is not 10 lakhs. 10
Correct.
lakhs minus the interest paid on the bank guarantee.
Correct. You
For
lose
year.
that much for a small company, small consultant. These are all huge binding
Yeah.
impact.
So even the interest loss is there on EMD amount also. What Ramya said now, EMD is something before the the contract is before our along with our quotation they would have received this EMD.
Mm.
EMD is for some other. We should not go away from the participation in the tender. For that purpose, EMD is there. But EMD is withheld until the project is executed. In many
Correct.
cases. So EMD amount is also.
This is the case with most of the government and other
Yes, government.
projects. Most
So-
of the case.
Yes.
Okay. Now, the point number 4, ROI. See, it's very difficult to define an ROI in a technology deployment.
Okay.
What do you need it? What it is, ROI is not always from the point of view of money. See, I will again go to the railway thing only. The ticket management, how beautifully they have done now. Previous years, we used to get that card type ticket, no?
Yeah, correct.
It's a card type.
And bank ATM implementation, if you look at the ROI has taken a lot of time. Correct. Whereas from that, the usage and effectiveness of the work only you should see how effective you are. One is doing the work, how effectively you have done and efficiently you have done. Those things should take into ROI rather than money point of view. How much of saving of time, saving of, sometimes they say saving of resource. Instead of saying saving of resource, they'll say resources redeployed in some other.
Yes.
That is very important. ROI is, you should think that philosophy rather than money. Money is not directly should be said, but indirectly it counts money only.
So ROI is defined by customer, and he has put it in his objectives in the organizations.
Key processing areas or key result areas in that he can put. If I complete this project, what happens and how much thing. See, for example, in some projects like okay, ISO implementation. ISO implementation is mere cost being spent. There is no ROI on that, excepting that you are saying you're a certified company, right? Whereas here, properly, the usage goes to the in-house people, the functional people, the process owners.
Process owners.
Yeah, correct. So ROI is definitely thing. Most of the companies invariably say, "Oh, okay, I have implemented SAP, so many people are not required." It's not like that. You have to internally support the thing and get the thing going.
Correct. So the people transition from the current assignment to new assignment has to be planned in advance and to be communicated, to be told them. And what is that required for the new assignment? They have to be trained for that particular skill also. And now that we have implemented ERP, we would have reduced the manpower required for this process. But definitely the manpower for the other project or new assignment, it would have been a gain for the organization.
They can be redeployed elsewhere.
Yes. Yeah.
That is very important. Nowadays, people use, oh, how many heads I can cut. That is what.
Yeah, and people also get scared. I might lose job. And,
so this only creates problem. This ROI not properly stated and defined, that creates a lot of problem for the internal people.
True. The best practice what we followed in our ERP implementation is that we created the end user club.
Ah.
We call it as a end user club.
Mm.
And we used to, make sure that every week we used to meet them. Daily we used to meet them independently, but as a group, as a club, we used to meet them and we used to ask them that, are they finding any other issues? And if there are any issues, then how could we address them? So we used to capture a lot of such information from the end user club. So by doing this, there are two advantages what we have got. One is that, we used to know upfront the problems faced by them, and if there is any minor correction required for the process, and we used to fix it there. Secondly, by doing this, the other person he used to get to know what actually happening on the other departments.
Correct.
So then he or she is always happy to be part of an end user club to know the process on the other side. Secondly, by participating and getting educated, that he or she is ready for redeployment somewhere else. So they were much happy to be part of this end user club, and we used to get a lot of advantage out of these meetings.
Correct. So, Ramya, your post in support. What is your point you wanted?
So these were some of the queries where we had stuck up, and you just gave us a brief on this so that we can just get the awareness when we are interacting with other clients.
Yeah, actually, there is a point, Ramya. You remember one of the contracts where, I don't want to mention the customer. What has happened in that project, Vardhajan sir, that, customer has given us the order. And he said that, hey, we are pretty good in terms of taking over your code. So we do not need any AMC service. Because he or the customer has a plan to add some technical guys in the system.
Okay.
But for some reason, they were not able to add resources. So they are in such a situation now that, since they have not defined AMC terms at that time, and we were reminding them that you guys have not planned for AMC, you don't have any technical capability, please define the AMC order. We have the proposal given to them, and they have not. They have said, okay, fine, let's do that. I mean, they have underestimated in terms of adding the new resources at their end, and they always thought that the resource can be added in a month's time, and they can take over the code from us within 2 or 3 months' time. Which is just not possible, such a big project, and taking over in 2 months' time, 3 months' time, it is just not possible. So, customer is thinking that our AMC, whatever given, is a bit high as per his budget. Is a bit high. So you please bring it down. Then we said, how can we reduce it? Because whenever we talk about AMC, you never look into that. Now, by seeing our AMC proposal, you are thinking we are expensive or costly. There is a manpower required from our side also, no? If we are talking about AMC and all that. So that is the one reason, you need to be prepared to look into this. So it is a kind of a mismanagement or not planning properly at the customer end. Despite we gave the AMC proposal well in time and advance and all that. So it's a kind of an underestimate. So this is part and parcel of the post implementation. I think they need to really look at when is that service agreement should start, support service should start, and when it is going to be renewed, and how much escalation we can ask in the first year, second year, third year. All those, if it is possible, define the terms and keep it open in the discussion, and then sign it mutually agreed upon.
That is why I am saying that phase, phase wise you split the project. Then at each phase you can reach AMC levels.
Correct.
Some in AMC level, some in development level, some in post implementation level. Like that, it will turn out to be. It is not one chunk is going to land up and going to be a post implementation. This is what the basic problem is. You have to identify what is coming under AMC, what is under still development. Those categorization is very much required.
Yeah. Secondly, we also have educated the customer in
Mm.
terms of what licenses are effective from what date to what date.
What
And
date? How many users can?
how many users? Yes.
That is very
And the
important.
renewal, that is he or she has to budget the
Mm.
cost for the renewals.
Mm.
So if they keep forgetting, if they just only budget for AMC services, but
Mm.
not budgeting for the license cost, then they will face a problem,
Mm.
and they end up in going to the management asking for more money and more budget.
Mm.
And they get into problems. So we educate them upfront.
Okay.
Okay, I'm sorry. I think there is something happened. Signed out.
Okay. Okay.
You are able to hear me?
Yeah. Yeah. Very much. Yeah.
Why it shows signed out? I don't know.
So what else, Ramya,
Okay.
from your side?
So these were my questions, which were on implementation project program. If when we have a second time of discussion, we will also come out with new things, new questions.
Okay.
Okay, I think good. We have covered a lot of points today in our discussions. I think fairly lot many practical issues are addressed. Lot many the new points which you have brought up into the discussion, sir. It's very useful. I think the key takeaway is in terms of ROI,
Mm.
in terms of project scheduling and time and effort optimization.
Optimization.
Optimization is very important.
Mm.
The
And
other,
the
licensing, product licensing or open source licensing.
escrow.
Escrow account, yes.
Escrow.
That is very, very important.
Very important.
Mm. Anand, you can put all this and make a book, Anand.
We hardly find the time to document for customer, but we still, I think we can do that, sir. It's really
And give it to somebody and tell them, see, this is how you understand ERP. See, the whole thing you can make it into a book.
true. I fully agree. Yeah, these are the things which we can really make it as a book for the budding engineers.
These are all actual working experience, sir, not just from theory.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So thanks, Lord.
Thanks for your time too.
Yes.
You have spent a good time, and Rami also spent a good time in making this session very useful. So,
Okay.
I hope,
We just got some more knowledge and more information, sir, from your end.
Really, I'm happy on that.
Yeah.
Very good.
Good, sir. So we'll keep adding to these series of our panel discussions so that people get educated and people make use of these experienced, values coming out of these discussions.
Thanks a lot. Yeah.
Have a good day. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank you,
Ramya.
sir. Yeah,
Thank
thank
you.
you, sir. Thank you, Vardarajan,
Thank you
sir.
very much, sir.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye, sir.
Oh, okay. I have to get out. No.